At 4 in the morning on May 11, 2012, an intense fire broke out in a residential home in Derby, England. 6 children were asleep in the upstairs bedrooms as the flames spread. The upper floor reached 500 degrees Celsius in minutes. Jade, John, Jack, Jesse, Jaden, and Dwayne were trapped, and all 6 siblings died from smoke inhalation before rescue teams could pull them out. When investigators examined the blackened exterior of the house, they found proof of deliberate arson. Someone had poured raw petrol directly into the front letterbox and struck a match. The children's father, Mick Philpott, told police he had fought through the inferno to save his kids, but was repeatedly beaten back. He presented himself as a man who had done everything he could. But Mick Philpott was already a recognizable figure in the UK. He was notorious for fathering 17 children with multiple women and regularly appearing on national television to defend his lifestyle and his reliance on government benefits. A targeted arson attack on such a controversial public household immediately raised questions. Detectives had to determine if an angry stranger had struck the home or if the truth was more internal. In the following days, the local community rallied to raise funds for the funerals of the 6 young victims. Neighbors assumed the family was completely shattered by the loss. Behind closed doors, Philpott's behavior was highly suspicious. He engaged in casual horseplay while visiting his children's bodies at the mortuary, and he was reported to be openly flirting with a female detective assigned to investigate the fire. During a televised press conference, Mick and his wife Mairead sobbed heavily for the cameras. However, the performance didn't convince investigators, who noted that the couple's grief felt strangely rehearsed. This is a layout of the crime scene evidence recovered by forensic units. It shows the position of a discarded petrol container found nearby and a rescue ladder that was left entirely unused at the back of the house. Detectives moved the couple into a hotel room rigged with covert microphones. The recordings picked up Philpott explicitly instructing Mairead to stick to their story before admitting, "It's my fault we lost our children." These hidden recordings dismantled the narrative of a tragic accident. The parents who performed for the news cameras were the ones who had set the fire. This capacity for violence was part of a long-standing pattern. In the late 70s, Philpott broke into the home of a teenage ex-girlfriend who had tried to leave him and stabbed her 27 times. Diagnosed as a psychopath, he spent decades grooming vulnerable teenagers to maximize his state benefits. To Philpott, more children meant more government income and a stronger claim for larger taxpayer-funded properties. His control fractured when his mistress, Lisa, finally escaped his household with her 5 children. This departure threatened his lifestyle and his financial security. This flowchart details the conspiracy: ignite the petrol, perform a staged rescue, and frame his escaped mistress. Playing the hero would win back custody, securing more benefits and a larger council property. The fire was intended to be a PR stunt driven by greed, but it accelerated far beyond their expectations. A plan designed to manipulate the state ended in the deaths of 6 children. In court, the charges against the trio were downgraded to manslaughter. Because the evidence suggested they intended to stage a rescue rather than kill, they were not convicted of premeditated murder. In 2013, Mick Philpott received a life sentence with a 15-year minimum. His wife Mairead and their accomplice Paul Mosley were each sentenced to 17 years. Public outrage followed when Mairead and Mosley were granted early release after serving only half of their terms. Many felt that the justice system had been too lenient given the scale of the tragedy. This tragedy sparked a debate over the vulnerabilities within the UK's council housing and welfare systems. It raised questions about whether a system meant to support large families could be exploited by a parent who viewed children primarily as a path to a larger check. Mick Philpott remains in prison, having lost the very family he tried to use as leverage. His children's lives were essentially traded for the hope of a larger house and a better payout. This case forces us to ask how the welfare and justice systems can better identify manipulative abusers before they manufacture such preventable disasters. We're interested to hear your thoughts on these sentences in the comments below.